Welcome back, food lovers, to another culinary journey. Today we're at 𝙅𝙧𝙧𝙚 Soufflé Wine and Bistro, a French-inspired salon de soufflé known for its whimsical approach to this delicate dish. Originally from Texas, 𝙅𝙧 now has a location here in Tulsa's Yuga Square. But the big question is, does it rise to the occasion or fall flat as just another niche concept? With that said, let's eat. First, let's talk atmosphere. 𝙅𝙧 has a charming and cozy vibe that mixes French cafe elegance with a casual, whimsical feel. Tree halves are adorned with white lights, creating a soft lighting, and vintage French decor sets the perfect stage for a fun meal. It's ideal for a date night or a celebration with friends. Service at 𝙅𝙧 Soufflé was collaborative and attentive. Tyler, the bartender, kicked off the evening with knowledge and hospitality, while Micah, our main server, ensured every need was met. General Manager Brian even took the time to explain the history behind the dishes and introduce us to Chef Jake Robinson, who shared insights into his culinary journey from juniper and orange to rise. Overall, the service was solid and above average. Before we continue, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and let me know in the comments what soufflés you are most excited to try. Now, on to the food. We started with their playful bread service, presented in a guillotine with a serrated knife. Instead of slicing traditionally, you press down on each piece, a fun nod that for some reason made us think of Marie Antoinette. Kind of unsettling. However, it did tend to flatten the bread a bit. The bread itself was tasty and paired with unsalted butter. Course 3 is a staple for 𝙅𝙧, the marshmallow soup. A carrot and tomato bisque is topped with goat cheese soufflé marshmallows. A fun concept, but the soup leaned a bit on too sweet and could have used a touch more salt. The herb drizzle added a nice finish, but overall it didn't quite hit the mark. The marshmallow soufflé lacked flavor and tasted like egg whites, which is what they're made of, but it didn't seemingly pair well with the soup for us. Course 4 is artichoke andouille, steamed artichoke with a tangy, acidic cheese sauce. The flavors balanced well with the artichoke heart, but navigating the fibrous leaves to get to the parts was a bit tricky. It was more exploration than a cohesive dish. Also, the sauce was very tangy, and that acidity dominated the palate. It was difficult to find the heart, but when you did find the heart, the balance returned. Course 5 is the French onion soup, and this was a standout. Sweet onion, bone-based broth, and cheesy end notes made each spoonful a delight. 𝙅𝙧 nailed this classic, as it was both complex and yet elegant at the same time. Now we have 10 full soufflés to go over. Soufflé 1 is the truffle-infused mushroom soufflé. This was delightful and a standout. Earthy mushroom notes, stringent truffle in the middle, and soft egg custard finished it. It was light and balanced, beautiful texture, and each bite was wonderful. Soufflé 2 is the crab soufflé, and it was simply divine. Strong initial crab notes transitioned to subtle middle notes of paprika, white pepper, and thyme. Generous portions of crab meat adorned each bite, and it was a rich, flavorful experience. A gentle heat crept in towards the end, adding a satisfying finish. Simply beautiful. Soufflé 3 is the sun-dried tomato and goat cheese. A slightly firmer texture with a lovely balance of sweetness and acidity from the sun-dried tomatoes, and it paired beautifully with the goat cheese and basil sauce. Again, another harmonious and satisfying soufflé. Soufflé 4 is the herb and spicy sausage soufflé. This one leaned more towards feeling of breakfast, with pronounced egg and sausage notes. It was hearty, though less refined than the other soufflés, and it felt a little out of place, but this would be perfect for breakfast. Soufflé 5 is the Southwest chicken, and this featured cheese and green chili sauce. Unfortunately, this one missed the mark. The soufflé was under-seasoned, and the cold green chili sauce didn't elevate the flavors. It needed more balance. There were hints of chicken, there were hints of green chili sauce, however, it was not particularly cohesive and could use some salt. Tara's escargot soufflé, on the other hand, had great potential, but the garlic notes were so intense that they overpowered everything else. The subtle flavors of the soufflé and escargot got lost in the mix, making it a dish that felt one-dimensional. However, the butter at the end was beautifully mopped up by the bread. Now let's get on to the dessert soufflé, starting with raspberry. Now, this was absolute perfection. Light and airy with vibrant raspberry notes in each bite. The raspberry sauce added a sweet and tangy contrast, creating a beautifully balanced dish. This is a true winner. Next up is the chocolate soufflé. And much like the raspberry, it was a work of classical perfection. Subtle chocolate notes and a fluffy base with a rich, not too sweet chocolate sauce added just the right amount of richness. A beautiful, indulgent dish. Next, the pecan praline soufflé, and this was the star of all soufflés. beautifully aerated with crunchy caramelized pecans and luscious boozy caramel. Each bite was a perfect harmony of caramel, nut, and a hint of cinnamon. It is simply stunning and one of the most complex and beautifully rendered soufflés I've had. We wrapped the soufflés up with a bread pudding soufflé, and this one missed the mark. It had deflated early, and its flavor profile was very muted, even with the sauce that was poured on top, and the overall soufflé did feature a strong egg white flavor rather than the flavor profile that it set out to achieve. With all those soufflés under our belt, let's go ahead and score Rise. The atmosphere is a 17 out of 20. Whimsical, fun, slightly romantic. Service, 16 out of 20, which is very good. Overall food is a 45 out of 60. Not quite excellent, but definitely above average. The overall is a 77 out of 100, which falls in the above average range. So, does Rise Soufflé rise to the occasion? Absolutely. While not every dish or soufflé was perfect, the atmosphere, service, and standout soufflés make it a delightful experience. Whether you're looking for something whimsical or just a memorable night out, Rise offers a unique take on a classic. Rise's theme and vibe is absolutely perfect for Utica Square, and definitely worth a stop in, especially if you're into that French cafe vibe. Until next time, friends, let's eat.